Hello to all my Serra friends across the United States. I'm Mark Bonkowitz, and I have the privilege of being the Vice President of Membership for the United States Council of Serra International. And I'm going to speak with you for about 5 minutes on these 4 subjects. But in order to focus our time and energy together, let's start off with just a quick peek of why does Serra exist. Because it's not about just being a Serran or being a Serra member or being a member of an international organization. It's all about these guys. It's about these young men that we're praying for and affirming and supporting in their process of discernment to become priests. It's about the young ladies who are going through the same discernment process to become sisters. And so we have the privilege of thousands of opportunities as a Serran in our lifetime to really have mountaintop experiences of just tremendous spiritual moments, as well as lots of moments of fun. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about as the Vice President of Membership. Specifically, I've been asked to address these issues: gaining members, where are our ideal prospects, what do they look like, where do we find them, what methods do we use in order to find them and attract them to consider becoming Serrans, and then finally, what does the new member ramp up look like and feel like? So, gaining members, number 1. First of all, in your mind, if you think, I have to sell somebody about becoming a Serran, wrong. You can even take the word recruiting out of your mind and just kind of minimize it, because it's really all about sharing. It's about sharing joy and the fun of being a Serran and being around these young men and the priest that they will become. You're fortunate. On the United States Council website, we have 2 new membership flyers. The very first one is big picture, looking at the top part of the funnel. Does the church even need Serra? We're supposedly the vocations arm of the church. Are we really, or is that just a saying? So that's what this flyer is on there for. And it's available for you in a PDF that you can just print automatically, or if you want to download it and change it, we also have it on a electronic format that you can make those changes, called Publisher. So that's going to give you the big picture on why Serra exists. We have a declining number of priests over the last 40 years and seminarians. We have a 50% increase in the number of Catholics. We have a huge gap that we need to fill, and that's why Serra exists. The other thing to talk about is joy and fun of being a Serran, and that's why you have the mountaintop flyer that's also been created. And it gives you 10 different reasons why you can talk to someone about joining Serra. And it includes the mountaintop experiences of going to the installation of a bishop, or going to when we have the young men that are finally being ordained, either for the transitional deaconate program or becoming priests. Fantastic spiritual moments. Or young ladies when they finally have their final pledge, their final vows. Those are moments that are just fantastic for us, as well as priest dinners. Then when we talk about the fun aspect of it, it's called the golf outings and the seminarian dinners that happen right before the seminarians go back to the seminary each fall. We have this new crop of seminarians that come in. For those of you out there who were born and raised on a farm or a ranch, we understand new crop seasons every year. The same thing happens every August when the new seminarians are introduced. Ideal prospects. Who are they and where do we find them? 3 major categories. Number 1 are daily Mass attendees. So when you go to daily Mass, I'd encourage you, sit a little bit towards the back. Maybe not in the back pew, but at least a third of the way up from the back. And look around and say, Lord, who would you want me to talk to about becoming a Serran today? And He'll tell you. It's that grandmother that's 3 pews ahead of you on the left-hand side. It's that young lady over here that brings her children to Mass. It's that businessman in a suit ahead, or it's that grandpa who's sitting way up front who's a great lector. He will tell you, he'll write on your heart who you should talk to. Family members of the seminarians and the postulants obviously are great prospects for us. Why? Their family had a culture to where evidently vocations were encouraged and nurtured, or those young men and women have never heard the call of God. And so reaching out and inviting the parents and the grandparents and the aunts and uncles, would be ideal prospects for us. And then we have the family members of the priests and the sisters. So I don't know if your diocese has the equivalent of what the Omaha Archdiocese has, but we are fortunate to have a directory with the four-color process photos of the priests, so we know exactly who our priests are. And if you would just go to those 3 or 4 or 5 priests that you're the closest to and ask them to share 4 or 5 names of family members, wow, they'll be happy to provide prospective family members for you to call. So, what's the methodology? For the daily Mass attendees, the methodology is at the end of Mass, whoever the Lord puts on your heart to talk to, just time it so that you're at the holy water fountain with them at the vestibule of Mass, and as you're walking out, you just introduce yourself to them. Hi, I'm Mark Bonkowitz. I see you at daily Mass all the time. What's your name? Are you a member of this parish, or do you belong to a different parish and this is just convenient on your way to work? You just start a small conversation. You hand them this little flyer right here with the photos of the seminarians in it. Why? Because daily Mass is important to them, so being a Catholic must be extremely important in their life. They must really love the Lord. And they know if there's no priest, there's no Mass, there's no sacraments. And so you just hand this to them and say, do you pray for these young men? Some of them are, some aren't. Encourage them to take it home, tape it to their refrigerator, and encourage their family members to start praying for them. And then, a week later, meet them at the Holy Water Fountain. Now give them a flyer for your club. One of the flyers that we just talked about right here. Introduce Serra to them. Tell them to take a look at this, acquire their name, acquire their phone number, see if it's okay to follow up with them. And that's the process. It's a dimmer switch. You're just planting little seeds over about a month or 2-month period of time to gain their interest. Family members of the seminarians and apostolates, easiest way to get those names is to call the chancery, the vocations director, ask the secretary. We're wanting to encourage these family members to become Serrans because we support their sons in the seminary. And I'm confident you got a 99% chance that you're going to get those names and the contact information, whether it's emails or telephone numbers, to be able to call and invite them to consider Serra. And then finally, the membership drive is a way, it's a formalized method, should happen once in the spring and once in the fall. And we have an 8-page PDF file that has these flyers on it, and it has other type of information that will really help your membership drive be successful. So please, it's www.serraus.org. Again, www.serraus.org. Finally, we need to talk about how do we ramp a new member up? How do we take someone who becomes a member and make them a lifelong Serran? For that to happen, they need to enjoy the joy and the fun. They need to savor those moments. And so it's a very important role that we as the sponsor for each individual new member that we provide. Every club should have a once-a-year induction ceremony where all of the new prospective members become Serrans. And that should be part of your annual banquet. Then you should have an orientation event shortly after that, or maybe even a month before. Either a month before or within a month after, so that you got a double punch of power and understanding and knowledge so that they can assimilate what's it like to be a Serran. And then finally, one-on-one events, because in all of our clubs we do a variety of things. The sponsor should be the proactive individual. You should be calling them and saying, Jake, Sam, Mary, Martha, Bernadette, whoever you have invited to become a Serran who now is, it's your responsibility to reach out to them and get them plugged into events. Going to events and praying and being at the golf outing, being at the priest dinner, being at the seminarian picnic, etc., to me is even more important than coming to the lunches or the dinners, whatever your club has. Those are important, but they're of less priority than really being involved and rubbing shoulders with the priests, the sisters, the seminarians, and the postulates that are there. If you will do these items, believe me, you will increase the membership of your club by 20, 30, 50, maybe even 100% in the next year or two. It's just a matter of sharing the joy and the fun. And as your club grows, your bishop and your vocation director is going to be so much happier with you and all the other Serrans because they are counting on us to help them spread the gospel message. If If you ever have any questions, I'd be glad to chat with you. My cell phone number is 402-490-8612. Again, 402-490-8612. If I'm not available, leave a voicemail message. You can expect a return phone call in 24 hours. Thank you for everything you do to help us achieve the Serra mission here in the United States. God bless you all.